You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. This is your host, Tim Link, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. My guest today is author and distinguished scholar, Laura Caldwell. Laura's going to be here talking to us today about her latest book, The Dog Park. We'll talk a little bit more about her writing styles and everything going on in her world as well. So it's going to be a great show, great book to cover. So everybody just hang tight. We're going to come right back after these commercial breaks, talk to Laura Caldwell. You're listening to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
I'm not much of a reader, but I do wish I were more well-read.
There are so many great books coming out. I wish I could find a way to keep up.
Audible.com makes it easy to stay well-informed and catch up on your reading simply by listening. Audiobooks from Audible turn downtime into uptime. You'll be more productive and become well-read.
Now I'm able to catch up on all the great books I've been wanting to read.
With Audible, I feel smarter.
Pet Life Radio listeners, try Audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan free. And get a free audiobook. Choose from over 100,000 titles. To get this great deal, go to audibledeals.com. That's audibledeals.com.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket.
Awesome!
Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively Possum.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Joining me now is multi-book author Laura Caldwell. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure having you on. Now tell us about the latest book, The Dog Park.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't see this one coming. For the last many number of years, I've been a mystery writer and a thriller writer and working with people who are innocent, and so I really didn't see a dog book around the corner, so to speak, but it was kind of a return to my roots, which used to be in sort of romantic comedies. And it's called The Dog Park, and it's about a divorced Chicago couple who shares joint custody of their golden doodle that they both love. It's the only thing they couldn't separate or split up. And the dog is in a video that goes viral, showing the dog saving this kid from being hit by a car. So it's very kind of, pop culture in that, like we all know, you can be unknown in the morning and trending on, nightly news.
Absolutely.
That night. So it's one of those kind of up-to-date, kind of current stories, too.
That's great. Now, how did you get inspired to write the book? I mean, was this an epiphany? Did it wake you up in the middle of the night? Did you see a Labradoodle running down the street and say, I need to write a dog book? How'd that all come about?
I got a dog, and I got a mini golden doodle. She's almost a toy.
Oh, boy.
And she's a nugget named Schaefer, and I became just like all things dog. And my agent and my publisher mentioned to me that, your Facebook posts went from, like, book stuff and people who are innocent and law and book stuff to, like, dogs. So I had a book left in my contract, and they said, let's get it out of your system. So it was kind of a collaborative process, and we meant to just write it as the Dog Park is supposed to be a book you can take to the dog park. It's a fun, fast read, So it kind of came about in that way, and it was, in fact, inspired by the dog, Schaefer, who, I have to tell you this, Tim, this is like a confessional. I think my dog is about to surpass me on Twitter.
Well, I would like to say I'm surprised by that, but I know for my own social media network, whenever I post a nice picture of me doing something great, I think, they're like, oh, that's nice, Tim. A little, like a tennis clap comes across the social media page. But boy, I put one out there of some animals that I'm working with from clients, or I put my own schnauzers up there. Oh, yeah, it blows up. So
I know. It's fantastic, though. But it is funny because, in the book, the dog becomes, like, suddenly sort of famous. And this couple is thrown back together because their dog that they share is now, the mayor wants a picture of the super dog, as they call him, and she's, designing leashes. And so it is art imitates life, imitates art, I I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then tell me, with now that Schaefer's in your life, how has your life changed? Not only from having to raise and get used to a dog in your life, but what about from a social standpoint? You finding everybody wants to come up and pet the dog and talk to you now, or how's that changed?
I feel like that was what was happening the whole time. It really, Schaefer kind of inspired the dog in the book, whose name is Baxter. It's just sort of a boy version of her. But she's always been that friendly little golden doodle who's been bopping up to everybody in the park already. And, she wins people over. So it just became, that was like sort of our norm. But that's what I loved about, getting the dog was everybody says it now, but it's so true. I knew my neighbors so much more from the 6 months of having a dog than I did in the 10 years, before that, than I had been there. And that was I just had lunch with some friends last week who I'd met on the dog park and at the dog park. And that's so funny that we're all sitting here because of our dogs, So it has been a social thing, both from, just even since the Twitter stuff, but already this dog was a very, very friendly, shall we say.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you get the commonality, and I think with dogs in particular, it's just automatically pulls people toward you. And if they have dogs, you start sharing stories, and it's like, well, you think your dog did something great. Let me show you what my dog did, and you pull out the picture. So it does change your life drastically. What
do you recommend doing? As a question I have for you, when kids kind of shrink from a dog, I just usually give them a wide berth, of course, but sometimes their parents seem to want them to try to get over some dog scared, behavior.
Right.
And is there like a good way to sort of approach that situation?
Yeah, the best way I know to do it is you put yourself in a neutral location. So we're talking about parks in general, not necessarily the dog park, but just an open park when Schaefer is on leash, for instance. And then when the parent is coming up with the child, turn Schaefer around the backside. So Schaefer's face is not near the dog, and see if you can encourage the child to pet from the backside. And what that'll do is give them a little bit less stress if they're not comfortable with dogs, with the dog's face and head being there. And on the flip side, Schaefer won't feel the tension and nervous energy coming from the child if it reaches for its head. So that's a good way to do it, yeah. And then once the child gets comfortable with that and seeing, this isn't bad, Schaefer feels interesting, isn't the fur a little bit different than some dogs? Yeah. Yep, and then we start working with it. But yeah, let them go at their own pace. Make sure that Schaefer knows what's going on. Present it in that fashion. I think you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Little tip from your Uncle Tim there. Little tip.
Yeah, I got other questions. Don't think you're getting off that.
Oh, dear. Here we go. No, that's fine. Well, then I have to ask you about your background, obviously. You're an attorney and now a distinguished scholar of residence at Loyola, your alma mater. How does that all come about? How do you, okay, I'm going to be a lawyer, and then you become a lawyer. It's like, no, I think I want to be a writer, and all of a sudden you write novels and mystery novels and nonfiction and, become world-renowned in your writing. How's that process come about?
Very oddly and very without much direction. I'm trying to be more intentional in life and pick the result you want and work toward it. But I once told a friend of mine that if I had done that all my life, I never would have done the things that I had done because, I only took up writing after law school. So I really think that you don't have to be, I was not a natural writer. I don't think you have to be a natural writer, a natural artist, or a natural chef, to pick something up as an adult. So that was what I did. I took writing classes just because I kind of wanted something more creative. I was a lawyer and I was practicing law and it was a lot of work and I just needed some kind of outlet. And so for 3 years, that was just the thing I did to be creative. And then I finished a book. I shopped it forever, didn't have any luck, and randomly met an editor at a writers' conference, and she would later buy 7 books from me. So ultimately, a little networking never hurt. And the fact that I had passion for it meant that by the time I met that editor, I was working on another one. I had finished Burning the Map, and I'd shopped this book about a girlfriend's trip that changes this whole life of this woman, from her friends to her family to her love relationships to her professional. And so it changes everything for her. And I was already, though, nobody was interested, so I went on and I was writing something else. And I was already thinking about projects beyond that. So I think I was fortunate that I loved it because that's when I sort of pushed my foot in the door. I was a little bit ready to go,
Yeah, and I would agree with you wholeheartedly, in the fact that, a lot of writers are natural born or have a love for it at the beginning, at a very early age. And some of us, like myself, we develop a little bit later in life and fine-tune our skill and our craft a little bit better as we go along. And I think you hit it right on the head also, the fact that, just the key is to write the book. Get it ready to go. Get it all ready to go. Get your proposal, get your manuscript ready, everything ready to go. And if it's not the right timing for that book, go on to the next one, because you never know when the right timing is going to be for the first one that you wrote.
So true. I wish I had a dark, like Gone Girl type manuscript up my sleeves, ready for this. But I think you're totally right, and that's kind of how it ended up working, because by the time I found someone who was interested, that first novel about this backpacking trip to Europe it was in style all of a sudden then, because that was when the start of, they called it chick lit at the time, we just call it women's commercial fiction now, but it was the timing of that, absolutely. Because I had been sending it out there and people are like, it's good, but I don't know about young women, So it absolutely, and I think the timing has been perfect with the dog park too. Because, when you get a dog, everything's dog. When you're in love, everything's love, and vice versa with everything. But it's been such a perfect time. So many people are getting dogs, and there's just been such a, the dog pets on Twitter and pet videos. It's really been like a fun time to have this book out,
Absolutely. I would agree with you on that. And it is that, like we said, the common denominator. There's more dog parks popping up, so it's a great social aspect of it as well. And of course, it's a great read. So you did a great job with the book.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun. It was fun after having, like I said, written mysteries and been focusing on some weightier things. It was, I wrote in dog parks. I took the Schaefer everywhere with me. Just had a total blast writing it. And I say, hopefully, hope that comes across, that it's because we're sort of planned it as just a really fun read. The dog park is a book you can take to the dog park.
There you go. Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about your writing styles and some of the plans and how you maneuver from one style to another. We're going to come right back to that after this commercial break. So everybody hang tight. We'll continue our conversation with Laura Caldwell after these messages. You're listening to the Animal Rights Show on Pet Life Radio.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
Hi, this is Tim Link, animal communicator and pet expert and host of Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have you ever wanted to know what your pet is really thinking? Do you want to find out if they truly understand what you're trying to tell them? Ever wish you could build a better understanding and closer relationship with your pet? Well, now you can. Learning to Communicate with Animals is a 4-part on-demand workshop. In the workshop, you'll learn the essential techniques that are necessary to communicate with animals, including what is animal communication, breathing correctly to achieve the perfect state to communicate with your animals at a deeper level, using guided meditation exercises and method to communicate with animals, and how to send and receive information from your animals. So if you're wanting to learn how to communicate and connect with your animals at a deeper level, visit PetLifeRadio.com/workshop and purchase and download Learning to Communicate with Animals. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Teody Anderson, and I'm the host of Get Positive Results on Pet Life Radio. We're going to talk about a variety of topics on canine behavior and training, all based on modern methods that are fun for you and your dog. We might be talking about other critters too, so join us on Get Positive Results. We'll talk about common issues between you and your dog, answer your questions, discuss different activities you can do with your dog, and keep you posted on current canine news and products. All this on Get Positive Results on Pet Life Radio.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life
PetLifeRadio.com.
Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. This is your host, Tim Link, and I'm here with author Laura Caldwell. Now, Laura, tell us about your various writing styles. I'm trying to get a feel for how you maneuver from, writing mysteries to legal thrillers. You do women's fiction. You've had great success with nonfiction. How do you maneuver from one genre and one type of writing to another?
Well, I think it is difficult, and to be honest, this was fun to write, the dog park, but really, if there is any writing that's easy, and writing is not a particularly easy craft, but if there is any writing that's easy, to me, it was writing these Izzy McNeil novels. We have 6 out. The first was called Red Hot Lies, And it's about a sassy, red-headed lawyer who moonlights as a private detective. It's not me. It's like it's my avatar. It's my, like, the hotter, cooler, smarter me. But those were easy because it is, you always, as an author, the more you see these people that you're writing about as real and living, the more they come to life on the page. And when you stay in these characters' lives for 6 books, and I wrote them fast, we wanted to put them out, the first trilogy out, Red Hot Lives, Red Blooded Murder, Red, Right, and Dead. We wanted to put them out in one summer because we knew when people, like a character, they like to have more of those books. So those were the easiest. And the toughest to write was the nonfiction because it was about a murder trial that I had handled in the city here in Chicago. It's called, the book is called Long Way Home, A Young Man Lost in the System and the 2 Women Who Found Him. And it was about a young man who had been in a Cook County holding cell for almost 6 years without a trial. And my girlfriend had found him and taken on his murder case and ended up bringing me into it, and it was a very kind of crazy ride of a trial and of a friendship that sort of sprung up between all of us. So that was tough to write because it was emotional, because I was making Jovan, who, wanted to write the book, but I had to make him talk about his experience, which was exquisitely painful, and then I had to footnote everything, which just made it all the tougher. So, as to going back to your question of how do you maneuver from one genre to the next or one type of writing to the next. And I don't know, I think they're all kind of bleeding into each other a little bit. The dog park definitely has some mystery elements that I just could not weed out of my writer's quill, so to speak. And I think that came in even in the nonfiction book. We, wrote it to read like a thriller, even though it was about, a murder trial here in the city. So, I don't know if you do it too well, and maybe I'm not doing it as well as I'd like because they definitely, these components kind of bleed over. But then it's fun because then it becomes a craft and you're actually able to say, oh, you know what, I think I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to save that for later. You get to see it with a little more skill.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's good for a writer. Most of my work is nonfiction type, memoir type writing, but I do interview pieces and do some fiction pieces as well. And I think from a writer's aspect, though you may have a nice foothold in one type of writing, it's good to expand yourself and get out of your comfort zone and see if you can weave into something else. It's challenging, it's frustrating, it's scary as heck, but it's good to do as a writer.
I agree. I totally agree. And it's kind of like when things are scary, that's usually an indicator it's probably a good thing to do.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Scared straight, I think, is the key. So when putting together the dog park, when you talked about it was fun, easy to do. Yes, it was a good book, Schaefer.
It's the only, these are the only interviews, for this book. I'll never have another book out where it's okay for the dog to bark.
That's right. That's right. We love them. We expect it. We're on the right track if we get a bark in the background, so it's good news. But putting together the book, did you find the flow of it being so easy that you had to cut out chapters and words and things of this sort because you're actually involved in this, or was it more of a character piece and you got in touch with the characters? What made this book flow and make it fun for you?
Well, this couple is divorced because Sebastian, the ex-husband, is a journalist and he does a lot of work where he's embedded with the troops, and as a result, he can't talk about his work a lot. She didn't like that. It was one of the things that broke them up. And in the book, he is overseas on a trip when some of this stuff with Baxter the dog, Superdog, some of this video stuff hits. And I was doing a lot of research on investigative journalists, and particularly those people, like so many of them right now, who are really putting their necks out there to get information. And so that was really fascinating too. And that's where that kind of mystery kind of crept back in there, because it's so gripping what these, people the stories that the lengths they go to get these stories. So that for me was there were so many subplots in the dog park like that kind of had a life of its own. I almost could have kept writing, about those characters. So it's definitely the fun book with a charming golden doodle in it, and there's all these things, but there is this mysterious thread. So I think that's what kept driving it for me too.
Yeah, and it's nice how you wove it all together. It really does, because it's it's more than just a relationship book. It's more than just a dog book. It really has some intrigue in there, and the characters really come out strong. So you did a good job with that.
Thank you. I very much appreciate your kind words. That's exactly what we were going for. It's got to be character-driven ultimately, right? It has to be. Yeah. But then I just like things to move. I read on a couple different devices now, and as well as in regular books. And I have less and less patience I like to have some closure.
Yes.
So I need this scene to end or this chapter to end, please. So that's how I started writing it too. And it's easier to write like that, to be honest.
That's funny you mentioned that, because I don't know if it's just our society. I call our society the 10-minute oil change society, and if it's 11 minutes long, then we're yelling at the oil guy, I think is what it is. But we've got so much access to such good material, and we can take it anywhere we want to go on all these devices. And I find myself that way. I want to read a lot of good material, but I want it, here it is, what is it, I enjoyed it, next. Let's go on to the next one. And I find myself writing that way too.
Yeah, I know exactly. And we're only sort of feeding the beast, but people are so creative right now. There's so many good products, you know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot of good TV, there's a lot of great books out right now, there's just a lot of good stuff. And so you do fight, you know that as a reader, you have a lot of options. So when you're writing, from the author's standpoint, you do have to keep in mind that this is competing against a lot of other things. It's not just a lot of other books these days. It's a lot of other things, gaming and TV shows and reality shows. And I think we're going to see more of that, more of packages where people there'll be a kid's book, and then there'll be a movie, and there'll be a reality show, and there'll be a novel. And I think, the way it's going. But that will also allow people to maybe share what they're watching or reading. You know what I mean?
That's right. Everybody has a voice, and you should be sharing it. And there's really no excuse not to get out there and write something or give your opinion on something or get your message out there. And I think you're right. As writers, there is. And I think as writers, we have to grab their attention and keep it any way we can. So it's a tough task, but it's a fun challenge as well.
Yeah. And I think it's just, you were mentioning speak out or say your opinion or whatever, and I just think we always have to just remember to do it kindly. That's one thing that's been distressing sometimes, seeing just some of the unkind words exchanged, especially by, anonymous people. So
Yes.
I think we all have to step that up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I have at the end of each article, there's usually open for comments, and I rarely ever read those unless it's something where I have to respond to it. But I think that's a good comment. Be kind, give constructive criticism where needed. Otherwise, give plenty of accolades, because you want that writer to come back with even more and better stuff that you can enjoy.
Well put. That's exactly it. And if not, then you don't have to read it.
That's right. You can turn it off, close it up, turn off your tablet, whatever you want to do. Move on to the next one.
Won't even take it personally.
Won't even. Of course, that's after they buy the book or the download, right? And then we won't take it personally.
Well, this article that I wrote recently for Exo Jane, formerly Jane Magazine, now it's exojane.com. I wrote this article about how they gave it a rather sensational title. They called it something like, I chose dog motherhood over being a real mom and I like it, or something. It was kind of a rather I don't know, the title was a little salacious, but basically it was about how I'd long decided not to have kids, and then eventually the dog was, sort of enough for me. And I was very happy I'd made, these were choices I'd made. I didn't just not think about it and whatever. So I go to look at comments, and I see there's like a couple hundred comments. I'm like, oh, geez. And I thought I was just going to get slayed, and maybe I have since then, but people were really, really nice about it and really thoughtful and just saying, good job. Everyone has to make choices in life, and good job for doing it. So I as much as I caution us to be nice when we're critiquing it, I think that tide may be turning a little bit.
There you go. Always think positive. And I agree with you, too. I agree with you, too. There's nothing wrong with being a doggy mommy, that's for sure. That's right. You tell him, Schaefer. You got it. All right. Well, Laura, we're coming to the end of the show today. Tell everybody where they can pick up a copy of The Dog Park, and also more about what your activities are. Are there any websites, anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, lauracaldwell.com is where you can see all the different books and the various formats. If you like audio, Burning the Map, my first book, came out this past year in audio, and we just put out The Dog Park in audio. The Dog Park has this just amazing narrator, Therese Plummer, and so she's fantastic. And otherwise, you can get it on your device, on your Kindle, on your iBooks, or please go to a local bookstore and get the print book. So this one, it's pretty much got a lot of formats out there. So I'd love it if people checked it out. It has really been, fun to write and then to go on and get to talk to people like you. So I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you writing and also coming on the show today. Everybody pick up a copy of The Dog Park by Laura Caldwell and go to her website, lauracaldwell.com, and check out all of her other writing and activities she has going on. Plenty to do, plenty to read, and always great stuff. Laura, thanks so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you, Tim. Have a good one.
You too. All right, we're coming to the end of the show today. I want to thank everybody for listening to the Animal Rights Show on Pet Life Radio. I'd also like to thank our sponsors and producers for making the show possible. To find out more about me and other guests I've interviewed on the Animal Rights Show, you can visit PetLifeRadio.com and click on the Animal Rights icon. Download the episodes and listen to all the wonderful authors and writers that we have on the show. And while you're there, be sure to check out all the other wonderful hosts and shows that we have on Pet Life Radio. That's PetLifeRadio.com. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for the show, you can email me. Email me at tim@PetLifeRadio.com, and I'll be glad to answer your questions, entertain your comments, and bring on the people you want to hear from most onto the show. So until next time, write a great story about the animals in your life. Share it in a blog, an article, or in a book, and who knows, you may be the next guest on Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have a great day.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.